What were the two superpowers that emerged after the World War II? The US and the USSR. What was the outcome of the two Opium Wars? In the two Opium Wars of 1832 and 1848, China was defeated and was compelled to open its ports to Western powers. The opening of China to Western imperialism led to economic exploitation and the impoverishment of the Chinese people. What were the three principles of Dr. Sun Yat-sen? Dr. Sun Yat-sen's three principles were nationalism, democracy, and people's livelihood, with socialism as the ultimate object. What is referred to as Cold War history? The rivalry that developed after World War II between the US and the USSR and their respective allies created tension, which is referred to as Cold War. Write a note on Mao Zedong's early life. Mao was born in Hunan in southeast China. His father was a wealthy peasant and a firm supporter of the Manchus. Mao entered the junior college at Changsha in 1911 when the revolution had broken out in China. Mao joined the Revolutionary Army but soon left and enrolled in the Teachers Training College in Changsha. He then moved to Peking and served as an assistant librarian in Peking University. In the following year, Mao began his full-fledged political activities of Hunan and emerged as a staunch communist. Name the major countries which were members of NATO. Canada, Belgium, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, United Kingdom, Greece, Turkey, Germany. Name the member countries of SEATO. US, France, England, New Zealand, Australia, Philippines, Thailand, Pakistan. What is Warsaw Pact? In December 1954, a conference of 8 European nations, namely Albania, Bulgaria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Poland, Romania and Russia, took place in Moscow. They concluded the treaty on May 14, 1955. This is known as the Warsaw Pact. Name the satellite states of the United States. The United States had its satellite states in Central America: Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Panama and Guatemala. The Caribbean: Cuba, the Dominican Republic and Haiti. And East Asia: the Philippines, South Korea, South Vietnam and Thailand. Give an account of the policies adopted by Fidel Castro after he took charge of Cuba. After Castro took power, the US owned oil refineries on the island refused to process Russian oil. Castro nationalized them. The US retaliated by ending the arrangement by which it bought the bulk of Cuba's sugar. Castro nationalized the US-owned sugar companies and ended the US monopolies in electricity and telephones. All these gravely threatened American economic interests. What is diaspora? In Palestine, the ancient home of Jews, only a few thousand Jews were living in 1900. Some 15 million were scattered around Europe and North America. This is referred to as the diaspora. What led to the partition of the Palestine by the UN? At the end of October 1945, The Jewish underground organizations like Irgun Joy Leumi, Zionist paramilitary organization, and the Stern Gang, Zionist terrorist organization, began to launch terror attacks on a large scale. Railways, bridges, airfields, and government offices were blown up. The British government presented the dispute to the UN for a decision. Succumbing to the pressure of great powers, the UN resolved to partition the British Mandate of Palestine into a Jewish state and an Arab state. 29 November 1947. Write a note on PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization. PLO is an umbrella political organization representing the world's Palestinians. All Arabs and their descendants who live in Palestine before the creation of the State of Israel in 1948. It was formed in 1964 to federate various Palestinian groups that previously had operated as clandestine resistance movements. Yasser Arafat was its most prominent leader. Write short note on Yasser Arafat. In 1969, Yasser Arafat became chairman of the PLO's executive committee, a position he held until his death in 2004. Yasser Arafat was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the All-Palestinian Arab Guerrilla Forces in September 1970. Wearing a discussed pistol and carrying an olive branch and dressed in a military uniform, his appearance raised world awareness of the Palestinian cause. Arafat was elected by the Central Council of the PLO as the first president of the State of Palestine on April 2, 1989. How did North Vietnam resist to the US attack in 1965? The US bombed both North and South in the hope that it could force the liberation forces to abandon the struggle. The fighters of North Vietnam, trained in guerrilla warfare, had grown out of spontaneous struggles against a repressive regime. They sustained their resistance without bowing to the US. How did Vietnam emerge as a united and independent nation? The emergence of Vietnam as a united and independent nation was an historic event. The help given to Vietnam by the socialist countries, the political support extended by a large number of Asian and African countries, and the solidarity expressed by the peoples in all parts of the world helped in achieving this. Write a short note about Helmut Kohl. Helmut Kohl, Chancellor of West Germany from 1982 to 1990, and played a crucial role in integrating East Germany into West Germany in 1990. He thus became the first Chancellor of a unified Germany after 45 years of division. With French President Mitterrand, Kohl was the architect of the Maastricht Treaty, which established the European Union and the euro currency. Why did the Soviet Union allocate more funds to the military? In order to maintain a parity with the US, in the context of President Reagan's Star Wars program, it became necessary for the Soviet Union to allocate more funds to the military. The increase in military budget further strained the Soviet economy. What moves did Gorbachev make to stabilize his position? Gorbachev made moves to stabilize his position by reliance on conservation forces in 1989 and 1991. But on each occasion he was interrupted by massive miners' strikes which came close to cripple the country's energy supplies. What is perestroika? Perestroika restructuring refers to the program introduced by Mikhail Gorbachev in the late 1980s to restructure Soviet economic and political system. Why was perestroika devised? Perestroika was intended to energize Soviet economy which was lagging behind the developed countries of the capitalist world. Write a note on glasnost. Glasnost openness was a policy of ideologically openness introduced by Mikhail Gorbachev along with perestroika in the 1980s. Under glasnost, there was more openness. Writers who had been censored earlier were rehabilitated and there was space for criticism of politics and government. What led to the demolition of the Berlin Wall? The East European communist states under the Soviet umbrella were also in a deep economic and social crisis. Gorbachev's decision to loosen the Soviet control on the countries of Eastern Europe created an independent democratic momentum. A series of workers' strikes undermined the communist regimes, first in Poland and then in Hungary. A wave of demonstrations that swept East Germany led to demolition of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Name the Baltic states which formally left the Soviet Union. Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. The 11 republic which announced secession from the Soviet Union in 1991. Ukraine, Georgia, Belarus, Voltain, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Moldova, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan.